watching SK Live with Indranil Basu. Today we have um, a big Olympian with us, Ashwini Nachappa. Ma'am, welcome to SK Live. I was actually loss of words when when I have to explain that, who I have this evening with me. It's such
Thank you
a
so much.
towering personality. Thanks a lot. You must be very tired. You've been attending so many sessions since
Today is the
morning.
day of the Olympic Games, so I think everybody is upbeat, cheering for India. So everybody wants comments from all the former Olympians. So I think many of us have just been since morning doing this. Yeah.
And that one question: how many medals we are going to win? As if we we have control over that. Do we?
I will not go by the number game, and I've always said that even in my previous this thing. I think if our athletes can better their performance
Yeah.
from what they have qualified,
Yeah.
and leave the rest, because if they put in their 100% and do better than what they have done here,
Yeah.
success will follow. I mean, we should not measure the Olympics in terms of the number of medals. Of course, it's important. We will definitely get a few medals because this is one of the brightest team that has ever been fielded by India in the Olympic Games. It also has a mix and a blend of young and experienced. So it's also an Olympic Games where you're not going to have any of the extra things that normally happens in the sports village and the Olympic Games. It's just going to be your training session, your focus, your in-field play, and then you're back to your room. So there's not going to be much of distractions. So I'm hoping for real. I think this should be one of the best Olympic Games as far as performance goes by the Indian team.
So during your time, was there any distraction?
See, in our time, distractions. I mean, there is no other distractions in every Olympic village or every World Championships. When you meet athletes and your heroes from who you've been watching and want to emulate, and you're actually standing shoulder to shoulder with them, whether it's Carl Lewis or whether it's Ben Johnson or whether it's name them, and they're all there in the same village. I mean, that's what most of these Olympians will miss, especially the first timers. This time they're not really going to have the Olympic vibe as such, which is sad, but which is also understandable given the circumstances. We did have a lot of other activities, whether it's team games, whether it's team competitions. The dining areas is a great time to meet people from various countries and interact and learn. There's so much of learning that happens. So they're going to be missing all of that, and cheering your own fellow men is not going to be there. So it's going to be different, and it's very important that the athletes stay calm, stay free of any kind of what do you say, outside influence, because the health is what is most important.
Yeah.
Keeping the pandemic in this thing in view. And I think if you're responsible and you take care of your health and you're there to just do your business well, we will see great results.
We're hoping that it happens. In Hindi they say "Aapke muh mein ghee shakkar." But coming to that point about stage fright, which has been a huge problem with the Indian athletes, when they do well at national level, do well at the Asian level, when they go at the highest level, they have that stage fright. So do you think things have improved in Indian sports? How to handle pressure of expectation, like we have with the hockey team right now. Everyone is like really hoping that they'll do something different this time.
No, as I mentioned, it's a blend of very young children and the experienced. And the stage is fearless for them because they've already kind of had the exposure at various World Cups, whether it's archery, whether it's shooting. You stick whether it's Manu Baka, whether it is Saurabh, all young children who've been consistently performing irrespective of the stage they are at. So I feel that back in our days we never had the kind of exposure. We were just made to run. straight at the venue. So we didn't have that kind, and the kind of support that these athletes have, I think it's the first time ever we have seen a very athlete centered preparation across
Yeah.
disciplines. So it's whether it's the support from the ministry or from the federation or from the Sports Authority of India, it has been athlete centric. So and the kind of support system they've had is immense. We didn't know what mind training was. We didn't know. We didn't have a physio. We didn't, we didn't have all those kind of things. We just went as athletes. Some most often the coach who normally trained us a year, for the whole year, would never be accompanied. They would give it to somebody else who we've never seen. So we've run in such circumstances. Today they have the whole support system, the backing of the prime minister and the entire nation.
Yeah.
So that kind and the kind of infrastructure and support they've got, I don't think athletes have any reason to complain now.
Absolutely. But you know what I really dislike is that this kind of fever happens after every 4 years. After that it just subsides, which is not exactly what the way it should happen, isn't it?
We've been talking about this for far too long. But I think we have evolved as a sporting nation to a great extent.
Yeah.
If you've seen the kind of participation across disciplines, even in athletics, we were just the 4x4 relay that would most often get qualified and none others. But if you see the athletic, we have 6 athletes in race walking, 2 of them women. We have steeplechase, we have javelin, we have long jump, 400 hurdles. So across events, which is, and you have young kids as for the first time in fencing, equestrian. So across discipline, we're doing well. I'm only happy that every 4 years we've been talking about it. It's the biggest sporting event. Almost 12,000 athletes gathered today to kickstart the Olympic Games. I'm so happy the opening ceremony has taken off. So the athletes can be relieved that there's no cancellation and the Olympic Games will carry on.
So, such a great news for sure. But ma'am, coming to track and field, which is your field, of course, when are we going to see a champion 100-meter or 200-meter runner like you?
Well, there were far better runners than I was, but I think Duti has done exceptionally well, given all that she has gone through, the challenges that she's gone through. She's been consistently doing well. But as far as medal goes in sprint events, it's very, very difficult. We know the kind of field that is available at the moment, whether it's the Jamaicans, the Americans, you have that kind of field. But I think what we can really expect is from a very, very consistent thrower, that is javelin thrower Neeraj Chopra, who has been consistently crossing the 86, 88 mark. And he may just come up with a surprise because in athletics, I put my money on Neeraj Chopra because he's 4th in the world ranking, and he may just that one big throw will get him a medal.
Absolutely. I'm still waiting for the day when we have the fastest Indian doing something over there in the track and field. Ma'am, will it ever happen in our lifetime? What are we? Why are we lacking in that front? Why we have strong legs, we are skillful, we know when to, up the ante. We know everything, but we're lagging.
We need much more technology and science into that.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Today's sports is science. It's a 9.7 second race for the men, and we're still running 10.1, 10.2, 10.3, and the women's are, unless you do a 10-second, we are still at 11.1, 11.2. So at the Asian level, we are fairly good, but I think to take it to the next level, it needs a lot of other things besides just physical training that we are doing now.
You have been working so hard at the district level. You're helping a lot of kids. So do you see some sort of light at the end of the tunnel?
I love working with children, and that's the reason I've always been connected with sports and kids. And that's one of the reasons I've started my own institution, an ICC school. We have about 800 children from Montessori up to 12. I also have my sports foundation inside the same campus. Uh, for me, it was important because I'm a product of a school games, a very robust school games, which happened in early 80s. Uh, Somehow, in the last decade, I think academics has taken over and sports has taken a backseat. For us, in our days, sports was an integral part of our education curriculum, and it was in a way a great vehicle for schools to showcase their talent, whether be it hockey, basketball, athletics. And the inter-school games for us was like the Olympic Games in Bangalore City, and that's something that I wanted to revive, and that's what we're trying to do. It's a challenge because most often, we land up calling principals to say, please field a team when we organize these events. But I'm thankful that the ministry has started with the Khelo India Games.
Yes.
Unless we start a robust grassroots program, whether it's the Jilla Panchayat, Taluk level, whatever, at the base level, and once the pyramid base is large enough for champions to emerge out of choice and not chance, we will see a different nation in sport.
We want to see that. And who would know more about challenge than you? You've been a hurdler and then you became a sprinter. I mean, why? I mean, just want to go back a little. So what was the journey like then? From a hurdler to sprinter.
See, I think it was a lack of awareness and knowledge. And also at that point in time, as a young child, when you start off at 8, 9, those days, it was what was available, we had to make do with. And I think it just became, since I was a school champion in long jump, hurdles, sprints, it just became natural that I take up all the three as a young child. So in my first nationals, I did the hurdles, I did the sprints, and then moved on to, just the sprints. And then in 86, 87, I moved on to 400 meters. So it's just been at different stages in my life, how the coach, guided me, and I went by that. And I just had complete trust in what I was doing.
Absolutely, and we trusted. We are trusting our athletes to do well there, ma'am. The entire country. I mean, Lord, we know. I mean, we went through so much of crisis because of the pandemic, and now they've gone there. Lot of disciplines didn't have enough competition. Enough games, enough match practice. So, do you think that will really work? And will it affect their confidence level, because it was supposed to happen last year? It's happening right now. So do you think we have like other countries, we may have lost a little bit of edge? Do you think it's
I doubt it. I look at the positive aspect of it. Lots of athletes were trying to qualify. They had extra time to work out, prepare, plan, had many months to plan that out. And I think the pandemic also brought to light some of their weaknesses and strength, gave them time to work on those. Yes, it was mentally derailing for them, and lack of motivation when the games was cancelled and postponed, because you as an athlete and a coach, you'll have to rework your schedules and how you peak at a certain time. So they would have peaked at that time, and then to bring it down and then get back to regular training to peak at this very moment. So that took a little bit of the same. I think everybody's upbeat. They're all very happy. As I said at the beginning, we have a young team, whether it's hockey, whether it is any other discipline. You see the fire in the belly. In our days, it was like, it was just about qualifying, making the qualifying standards. Today, it's just not about qualifying standard. It's about winning medals. So the mindset change is there amongst our contingent. And once you go there to win medals, knowing that you are at the world's best, our kids have also had, whether it's wrestling, whether it is boxing, athletics, they've all trained abroad. They've all gone outside, trained with other countries, got that kind of little exposure that was not enough, but I think in par with the rest of the world.
Ma'am, you corrected me before the show. It was 1991 before you retired. You went to Tokyo for the World Championship. So, do you have any memories of that place where the Olympic is being held?
Yeah, I have a good and a bad memory.
Okay.
The good is, it's always great to be running at the world stage. It's
Yeah.
great to be. I had the opportunity in both, at the Olympic Games as well as at the World Championship, where I trained with Carl Lewis. I had a one session with Carl Lewis when the American coach saw me run, and I think those are things that memories will ever remain for me. To have got that opportunity to run with Calvin Klein and Calvin Smith, sorry, and Carl Lewis in one practice session. The other thing was, of course, the coach that accompanied us in Tokyo. We had no clue who he was. He wasn't available in the stadium when we had to enter. And it was difficult because to get into the main arena from the warming up arena, we needed a coach, somebody to sign on the papers. So I had to leave my bags, finish the race, come back. So we had so many other things to take care of. I'm so happy that those things are not there for our children today. For our team members, they go there, they're just there to perform, not worry about any other thing.
And that surname, Florence Joyner, India's Florence Joyner.
That's what you guys have given me. That's the media's name, But it's great to be compared to somebody as so great. I mean, I wasn't that great an athlete. But yes, I would always want to be different on the field, and it always made me confident to be different from the rest of them.
Ma'am, even the coverage bit has improved over the years, right? Was it always one dimensional in 80s and early 80s?
Coverage has improved, but there's lots that, if you compare the coverage that cricket gets, I don't think any other sport gets that kind of coverage. And I would like coverage of the junior level and grassroots level to come up, because that's where you need to motivate kids to consistently perform and have a sustained performance. Because parents today, even today in India, it's not, where you can consider sport as a profession.
Yeah.
And unless we come to that stage, and for parents to have that kind of confidence in their child, so that their security is taken care of, they're incentivized. We need to promote young budding stars. I'm so happy that today Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Haryana have become beds of such rural children have done well. They become beds of Indian sport. So there is so much of talent and so much of hope. We just have to nurture it in the right direction.
Absolutely, and that's why we're seeing so many champions coming out of this part of India, northern part. Boxers, weightlifters, wrestlers. They're doing so well in power sport,
and they inspire the entire generation.
Absolutely, yeah, and so many women athletes coming in, which is so encouraging. Also,
absolutely, and to see that encouragement comes from those rural backgrounds is even more encouraging. It's not just the city kids that are doing well. Yeah. Today, if you heard, when the Prime Minister was speaking to each of these athletes, the stories came out, and every athlete has a story to tell, a story that is filled with challenges, filled with a few failures, with struggles, yet you emerge successful. And I think that's a great way to motivate the entire younger generation today.
Absolutely. Ma'am, out of 10 kids, how many would actually be putting their hand up to join athletics in India? I mean, you combine it urban and rural India.
It's just the trend. So today, if we do well in athletics, you'll have lots. In fact, that's the mother of all sport. For every sport, you need to do athletics. And that's why I encourage young children who, parents come up to me and say, which sport do you think the child should go? And I said, first, just let them run on the tracks and get their basic coordination intact. Because once you have the basic coordination, you can pick up any sport. And that's what's important. And I think, in a way, the pandemic has brought about the importance of physical fitness, sadly. but that should be our way of life for every child, for every person. Physical wellness, physical health is of prime importance. For us to be mentally fit.
Few years ago, I remember I was part of it because I did that story. Sachin Tendulkar had written to the HRD ministry that sports should be integral part of, it should be a curriculum at school level. It's like a science, English, maths. So you have second language and you also have sports. It should be made compulsory. So do you think that should happen? That will really give us that sort of push which we need.
Well, sports is an integral part of every child, and I think it's a fundamental right, because every child needs to be physically fit. If you want a healthy nation, that's where you start off with.
Yes.
So I consider it a fundamental right, and children should not be deprived. Uh, Sports is evolving. It's a great industry, even in India today. And I think whether it's in school, right up to college and university, sports should be a subject. Whether
Yes.
it's under the science stream, whether it is under the commerce stream, whether it's under the arts stream, you have so many combinations in sports that one can take up. Take, for example, entertainment, media, sports sciences, the various departments under sports sciences, sports commerce, sports industry. So you have to, that's sadly, academics is a state subject, and unless it comes, from the top, it becomes very difficult for each one to implement. Hopefully, the NEP, which has given a lot of importance to physical fitness, will in some way capture the essence of sports in their curriculum.
Absolutely. It's so important to capture the essence. And rightly said. Ma'am, are you in touch with PT Usha, ma'am?
Yes, in touch means I'm not in touch. We are all a part of a group called the Heart of Athletics. So we
Okay.
are exchanging. Yeah, the whole lot of us.
Is it
are
a
there.
WhatsApp group?
It's a WhatsApp group. Yeah.
Okay.
So we are all connected. We are all connected in that.
So do you actually discuss who is doing what and where is the talent, sharing videos and of a kid who is really, really talented? Are you able to hear me, ma'am?
Sorry, I lost you completely. Now I am.
No, I'm saying when you have such a group, you discuss not only each other's well-being, we also discuss, you see a talent, you post a video, look at this talent, this could be the future of India, like that. You do all that, exchange of notes and all that of all the athletes, young athletes.
Unfortunately, no. It's just what's happening in the sports scene. I would love that to be a forum to discuss and exchange and share, but sadly, that's not the case. Yeah.
Because athletes, when they see a young talent, so you get excited when you've been there, done that, and you see someone else doing that. So naturally, you should feel happy. If you're not, then there's something wrong somewhere. But coming to the 3 best moments of Indian sports, which would be those 3 best moments according to you?
Karnan Maleshwari to
I met her today.
Bring in that to start the momentum in the 21st century, because this is the 6th edition of the Olympics, and she started that trend, and it has been continuous. Whether it was Rathore, and of course Abhinav Bindra's gold medal was absolute icing on the cake. 2012, the entire Olympics, 6 medals was brilliant. And I think Rio was a letdown. So they've been, since 2008, great memories. Let's hope, cross our fingers, and we do much, much better than the 2012 numbers.
Absolutely. So you had 2000 Maleshwari ma'am's bronze medal.
Yes.
You had 2000.
4 was Rathore.
4 was Rathore and 8 was Bindra.
8 was yeah. And then Sushil, of course, double, 2-time Olympic medal, not easy at all. PV Sindhu's was a great moment. Mary Com's, of course, was a great moment. So all the medal winners are great moments.
And before we let you go, your 3 best movies, because you have been quite a star. I mean, not many sports person would go and take that sort of jump and you did it so smoothly, and you did so well. Your 3 best movies, ma'am.
Unfortunately, I'm not a movie buff at all. I don't know how I got into the movies, but having
What you
done
did.
that,
And you did, and they say you can't take a horse to the water. I mean, you can take a horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. But you went there because you were willing to do it.
I'm in all my decisions in life, whether it's the movies, whether it's getting in, doing work for the NGO, whether it's starting my own institution, has just been my own instinct, and I've gone along with it. When I had to even retire from the games, when I couldn't make it to the Barcelona Olympics, I was injured. I just quit and I, hung my spikes. So letting go has been easy for me. It's not so for many. And taking up these various challenges has been, I thrive on those. So I did the movies, but you'll be surprised to know I have not seen my last 2 movies at all. But I enjoyed watching Milkha Singh's movie. Yes, I did. I haven't watched in a long time any other movies, but yes, but not much of a movie buff.
That was so real. That movie was so real.
Yeah,
and that movie really, generation of the new generation who didn't have access to the exploits of great Milkha Singh sir. So they actually got to know.
And it was portrayed very well. The story was portrayed very well. Yeah.
Absolutely. And what I really like is you, like all great sports people and legends, you are also instinctive, which is so important. We all, once you're there, you have to, it's only instinct which plays, nothing. All the planning has to be done before. And so, we hope our athletes in Tokyo, they play to their instinct, they do well. And thanks a lot, ma'am, for coming, sparing your time. You have been really tiring day for you, I know. Thanks a lot.
Problem. Absolute pleasure. Take care, and let's hope for a great games. Yeah.
We all hope for that.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye.